we've got a special treat for you. Now, how do you put a little more life into your lifetime? I think you can live life on purpose. And the way I see it is this. We have a choice. We can travel through life as observers, or we can become active participants. It's really up to us. But I'll tell you, this one thing is certain. We can make a difference by doing a little good each day. And when we do, we'll find that our life becomes very rich and abundant. And as you think about your lifetime and contemplate that, I'd like to show you a clip from 60 Minutes about a woman who is making a difference one child at a time. Let's take a look.
This is Wad last April when he arrived in America with his mother, Wafa. Elisa Montanti brought them here after an American soldier told her Wad's story.
He was walking with his friends, and they were kicking a bottle. I think the first child kicked the bottle, and then maybe the second, and then he kicked it, and it exploded.
It was a bomb.
It was a bomb.
The blast shattered his face, tore out his eye, and took away his right arm and left leg. Wad would receive treatment for all of those wounds from a network of volunteers and charities that Elisa Montanti has recruited one by one over the last 15 years. Wad's first stop was at the Shriners Hospital in Philadelphia. Shriners has 22 hospitals that provide free care to burned and crippled children.
Oh, you are so strong. Very good.
Wad pushed through physical therapy to strengthen his muscles.
You're going to be Superman.
But slowed down long enough
Wow, he really gets around well.
to get fitted for a new arm and leg that the Shriners made for him. Then it was a trip to see an ocular specialist, Annette Kursrot, who also volunteers for Elisa. A prosthetic eye was the first step in improving Wad's appearance.
Happy? Happy? Happy.
But the tougher part would be reconstructing his face.
Wad, how are you, buddy?
That was the challenge for plastic surgeon Kaveh Elizadeh. He's a Long Island volunteer recruited by Elisa.
Can you blow up your cheeks really
Good,
big?
good, mom.
When you first approach a hospital or a doctor to ask them for potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in free medical care, what's your pitch? What do you tell them?
I tell them this true story. Here's a child that's battered. I just tell them the reality. I expect them to help. I'm grateful because they don't have to help. But I expect that they would, because how could you not?
She runs Global Medical Relief out of her home, a 57-year-old single woman with a computer and a phone.
My office is my former walk-in closet, and I added a window, and it works, and I speak to the world right out of my walk-in closet.
The 112 children that you've helped so far come from where?
Bosnia, El Salvador, Liberia, Niger, Sierra Leone, Iraq, China, Indonesia, Pakistan, Haiti. Did I say Nepal?
How do you keep it running?
On a prayer.
She simply begs and borrows from doctors and hospitals, whatever it takes. She's traveled to the Middle East, arranging passports, cutting red tape, and getting wounded children out one at a time.
What do you think?
Well, my charity is very personal. It becomes a global family. All these children, I say my children so often because I feel that they are. I love all of them. It's more than just an organization that is giving a child a leg or fixing his face. These children go back as little ambassadors, and they tell their town, their village, who say how wonderful the American people are.
In early August, Wad had one more checkup with Dr. Elizadeh.
Look at this face. He looks so much better. Aren't you handsome? Wad, you look so good.
His scars will continue to fade over time, but this isn't the end of Wad's treatment. The plan is for him to come back from time to time for touch-ups as he grows older.
He's got a smile back.
He's got a smile.
And I think he understands more English than he used to understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you understand a lot of it.
4 months after they arrived in America, Wad and his mother headed home to Iraq.
Hard to say goodbye?
Very hard. I cry all the time.
You must worry that you won't see him again.
I do, because it's always that worry, what if? You know, what if something happens while they're in Iraq? What if I can't do this anymore?
A few weeks later, we checked in on Wad back in his neighborhood in Iraq. That's him in the red shirt. We found the boy who'd been disfigured and left to hop on one leg was back with a smile and a pretty solid kick.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please join me in giving a warm Melaleuca welcome to miracle worker and businesswoman Elisa Montanti. Careful. It looks like you've already got a few fans here.
Thank you.
And it's a thrill for us to have you here. And I think maybe where we ought to start is, how did you get started in this charity and helping these children?
15 years ago, I was working as a lab assistant, and I was approached by a friend to write a song for a very local fundraiser where I live in Staten Island. And I always dabbled in music. But at that time, I was suffering from severe panic attacks through the loss of my mother, my grandmother, and my grandfather. And I questioned whether or not I could do this, but I did. And it was to raise money for toys and school supplies for the children of Bosnia. And so I did. And I saw children and parents coming with toys and envelopes with dollars. And I just felt I wanted to do more somehow. So I arranged an appointment with the ambassador to Bosnia at the time at the UN, and I asked him, what can I do to help? Thinking that I was going to be raising money for toys and pencil cases. And he said to me, reached in his drawer and he handed me a letter that this 11-year-old boy had written, which read, I am asking all God and merciful people to help me get 2 new arms and a leg. And he had stepped on a landmine. I read the letter, and I saw his picture, and I heard his voice. And something inside me told me I needed to do something. And so I did. I recruited airlines, hospitals, prosthetic companies. And a month and a half later, he stepped off the plane with his mother, and he lived with me and my dog for 4 months. And he went back home with 2 new arms, a leg, and a new life. And that's when I knew that I had to do more. And so I started.
Wow, it's an amazing story. Now, you've been at this how many years, and how many total children have you helped?
152, with about 700 visits.
Wow, that's impressive. Now, when we say your charity, I mean, it's just you, right?
You see that I still work out of my former walk-in closet, but it works. It works. I speak to the world on different time zones, and it's more than just prosthetics. We're healing in many ways because the children and parents that come, they bond with other families, and these children go back as little ambassadors.
Oh, that's terrific. Now, we saw this film about Wad. What's his status? What's happening with him today?
Wad will be back actually next month, and he'll be back for refitting of his leg, okay, and maybe his arm. and in a few years, he'll have more reconstructive surgery on his face. But my charity is committed until all the children are 21 years old. So I bring them back every year and a half.
That's great. Now, of all the children that you've helped, is there one in particular that you think of the most or remember the most?
I have no choice. The first boy that I helped, Kenan, is like my adopted son, and he lives with me. He's 28 years old. He drives. He has a girlfriend. He graduated college, and he's working at Credit Suisse.
Wow. Amazing
And I'm very
story.
proud of him.
I'll bet you are. Now, of all the things you've learned, maybe you could pass on to us over these many years that you've been doing this now, what would you say you have learned the most?
Persistence. Persistence and courage. Do not give up. If it's something good and something you believe in and something worthwhile, do not give up. Just endure and forge ahead.
Well, Elisa, yeah, absolutely. We admire your courage, your get-it-done attitude, your sense of mission. You're a great example to everyone. We wish you very, very well in your future endeavors. Thank you very, very much for being here with us today.
Thank you, McCain.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, Elisa Montanti. Thank you very much. You did great. Thank you. Have to get up there, give them a wave.